Hi, it's your girl Candi G on the Evolve Nation vodcast, Leveling Up with Candi G. Today's guest is very impactful, very controversial. He's got a controversial and thought-provoking album just released. You know him as South London's very own Too Badda. Hi, Too Badda, what's going on?
How you doing, Candy? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So first of all, for those that don't really know you, or just, you know, in general, give us a little bit of background on who Too Badda is.
Yeah, so I'm a rapper, business owner, so I got my own like catering business. I'm a professional chef as well. So my business spawned off of me being a chef, and then I started my own catering firm. So got my son and my daughter working for me on the firm. Plus, I'm a trustee on a charity as well. So we do like work in the community, free food, and starting Saturday schools coming soon. So yeah, it's a lot of things going on. Plus rapper, activist, outspoken, and yeah, that's me.
So you became like majorly known over the last few months due to your thought-provoking freestyles that you put out that went viral, you know.
That's right.
So we had the George Floyd and most recently the Paulette Wilson, which was very touching, like respect to
do you know what a lot of people don't know about that as well? So George Floyd is freestyle number 10. So right at the beginning of lockdown, because I'm off work now, I've got a lot more time to put into my music, and my working is like very demanding, 60, 70 hour weeks. So lockdown, I was like, all right, now I've got some time, let me give it to them. So I thought, right, one freestyle a week. So literally every week, current topics, Boris messing up, the government messing up, this COVID foolishness. So I was going through it, and then after number 9, that's when the murder of George Floyd happened. So in between 9 and 10, obviously things kind of took a turn. So then I wrote about that current affair and kind of went into it. And what I felt is when I wrote that, like, it seemed like all the pain and everything that had been built up over the years, what all of us are suffering, it kind of all came out in that song. And then that one went viral. And then since then, it's just been like a whirlwind since then. So
you've been doing the music thing for a while?
Oh yeah, like I've been doing music all my life. All my life I've been in and out of music, and work, life take over, and then put it to the back burner and then bring it back again. So last year, even up to last year, shot a video. This year, February, Wu-Tang Killer Bees, like the next generation Wu-Tang. Yeah, they came over and we performed with them. So yeah, I'm still active, still in the game, just haven't been able to give it like my all.
So would you say with the George Floyd freestyle, where that's taken you today, has that reset the goals for your music career or
Well, you see, the goals were always there. It was just more of a case of finding the time to push forward with them. So now it's just opened up the doors to the path that I've been on for most of my life anyway. So yeah, now it's kind of like, let's push full force on it now. I've got loads of songs recorded, loads of material ready to go. So it's kind of like
and have they always been on the lines of the activism? Because your lyrics are very...
they're very like, potent, I know. And like, so I've always covered like reality in my music. And even going back to like ancient texts and ancient Kemet and Anunnaki and Sumerians. So I've always kind of been into that stuff. So I always put anything I buck up into in my music. So it's not just the activism side. I will put anything in there that's a current topic that I feel is personal to me. So the activism stuff, yeah, I just feel very strongly about racism.
Okay, so while we're on the note of the activism, what are you, Too Badda, fighting for?
See, we're fighting for change in the UK and in the whole world. The racist system, the system that we live in is built on racism. Everyone knows that. It's built off the back of slaves. The whole economy, everything they've got now is because of slavery. So racism is inbred into the system. It's part of the system. So what me and a few other like-minded guys are fighting for now is a change of that system. Like basically, we've got to a point now where we're like, enough's enough. You can't run this system how you've been running it before. It's got cracks all over it. And now people are starting to pry open those cracks. So whereas before I compare racism to like, my analogy for racism is like this big iron ball. What we've been hammering at and denting since slavery for 400 odd years. We've been hammering at this ball. We make little dents and get happy with the dents. But unknown to us, this racist system, they pop out them dents like nothing. So it's nothing to them. So this is why a lot of people don't believe in marches and petitions and protesting, because they've seen them dents just get popped back out again and just carry on with normal. This time feels like that iron ball has been cracked now. So now it's a case of everybody jump in and prize this open while we've got a little looking in there. So now it just feels like it's different this time. Now it feels like we actually can make a change this time. So I think everyone's just pushing forward, like trying to get on it as much as possible.
And what would you say has made that kind of push? Like, especially like with this new generation, they're completely coming at it differently to say when we was growing up.
It's a mixture of things. It's definitely a mixture now. One of the biggest factors is COVID. What COVID did, first of all, COVID put everybody at home. Secondly, COVID started making everybody look inside themselves, like look in the mirror time. You're at home, everything you've put all your time and energy into, like your work and stuff, that just all popped down. So everyone's seen like, rah, who am I? So it's made people look at themselves in a different way that they ain't really usually got the time to do it. Or working life and life in general just kind of overshadows a lot of things. So for me, it's COVID's put everyone at home. Now everyone's looking inside themselves while they're at home. Then they're questioning this governments that is running the world because they can see that it's shaky, something's not right here. Then George Floyd happened while all that was going on. So it happened at a time when everybody's like this. Everybody's just had their phone in their hands because that's all you're doing in COVID. Now, it come like it caught more people than it ever would have before because everyone's in this state. So people who might have been in their busy day lives and might have seen a Breonna Taylor before, they might have seen a glimpse of it and not paid it too much attention and carried on with normal life. Yeah, it might have been in the subconscious, you heard it, but you didn't really pay it too much mind. Now, everybody's so focused on what's going on around the world. I think that's why the George just hit home so hard. Plus, it was one of the most graphic, it was a murder live on TV. Like, how often has that happened? So, graphically, visually, it was like, it took everybody back anyway. And then with everything around it, I think the impact of it was just so big.
And apart from that, just before all that happened, we had the whole Brexit thing as well.
Right.
So how would you interlink that in your opinion?
Well, I think the whole Brexit thing has just kind of highlighted like that the country is divided. Like there's a lot of people who think one way and another think the other. And the Brexit thing kind of highlighted, oh, you think like that, yeah? Okay, so now it's kind of out in the open. So people are feeling a little bit edgy, feeling a little bit, tensions are different now. They're not like how they have been before. And Brexit is a part of it too. It's a build up to it, definitely.
Okay. So with yourself and with your own movement, how do you see yourself making change? Like what is your individual goal?
Yeah, see for me, one of the musical journey as well, it's kind of like even giving me like another perspective on things, because like I'm traveling up and down the country doing shows, meetings with people, and what I'm noticing a lot is there's a lot of work going on in like individual small groups, and loads of those groups don't know about the other groups, and they think that they are isolated and they're the only ones doing it. So on my journey, like for instance, I went to Wolverhampton, the whole of Midlands are getting together to start the first black political party. So they want to actually put forward their party into government, not work through Labour or Conservative, have their own one in there. So when I've come back down to London, no one ain't heard about that. And I'm like, nah, you lot need to know, because I've got people in London saying, what's next? What's happening? What's real changing? And I'm like, No, there's a black political party starting right now. For the very first time, we're trying to float seats in government.
Could you see yourself putting yourself forward as a political leader to represent?
Nah. See, politics for me, I'm not that deep into politics, but at the same time, the things I speak about are very political. You know what I'm saying?
Very political,
I just
definitely.
speak strongly on the subjects I feel strongly about. Okay. I'm not a politician.
Okay, so how do you identify yourself?
I identify myself as too Badda. I got a bit of activism inside of me. I'm a father, so I got 2 boys.
Okay.
So I don't want my boys growing up and having to face the same things I faced. I want change. So I'm coming from like a father's point of view first. And then my activism kicks in, and then my big mouth kicks in, and then the lyrics kick in. So it's a mixture of everything what gets these type of lyrics.
So have you ever experienced racism being in the creative industries, in the UK?
Not so much, not as such, because over here the black music scene is young anyway. It's a young scene, so it's only just been developing over the last 20 years or so. So we kind of in our own world, developing our own thing. And so we didn't really see much racism inside our camps as such, but we know it's there when it's time to cross over to the commercial world. Because I know artists that have had to change their image and change their lyrics and change who they're hanging around with and change the perception. So the racism's there, it's in it. But me personally, no, not musically. I haven't experienced it.
Okay, and growing up in London, what was your first experience of racism?
First experience of racism was on my friend's estate. And we was about 8, 9. And we used to go over to this estate in Sydenham. And one of my friend's neighbours, white woman, we were playing out on the grass, and she leaned out the window and she shouted out one bag of things like, and as a like an 8, 9-year-old youth, this is the first time I've ever heard anybody speak like that to anybody. I might have heard bits on TV or something, but actually hearing it live, see, I was about 8 or 9, and she was, you black this, black that, get off the grass, you're not supposed to play here. So yeah, we just went and drew from my brethren's mum and just went around there, and she just done her. So yeah, but that was my first encounter, about 8 or 9.
Oh, really? And in your older age, obviously, like growing up in London, going for work, like
you can't get away from it. You can't get away from it.
So what do you teach your children, your sons?
So I teach them that the world is unfair and don't expect it to be fair. You'll be very disappointed if you think this is fair. But if you are treated unfairly, don't have it though. Stamp your feet and stand up for it and make noise and make them know that you are not being treated unfairly. Because when you're submissive and you don't say nothing, they tend to do it more or think it's okay. So I'll make sure I teach them, don't have it at any step, like no form at all. So yeah, they're pretty strong.
And growing up in London, it's very important that as young black males, they have that positive male figure in their life,
100%.
Their father, you know.
100%, there's loads of stereotypes against them anyway, and then so it's important to have them strong role models, 100%.
Okay, and you said you work with the young people as well, so you must come across those kind of young 100%. Guys all the time.
My business partner, Dexter Sims, we run a company called Muller Cake. Yeah, this is Muller Cake. Muller Cake Clothing. Muller Cake Clothing. So like, Muller Cake has a kids club as well, Muller Cake Kids Club. So that's for the holidays. So 6 weeks holidays, any half terms and that. So yeah, we run a camp there where we do have teachers down there. We have volunteers helping out. Kids have loads of activities. Now, because of COVID, the kids club is online now. So it's like, it's so mad because COVID has like almost opened up the doors for other things as well. Because whereas before, our kids club could only be a limited number of kids in a building, and that was it. Couple staff to now it's gone online. Well, we got kids in the kid club in Africa now, and we've got someone in the kid club in like Jamaica as well now. So it's kind of opened up the doors. We send out like a care package like football and a couple bits
Oh,
and pieces.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then get interactive with them. Right. Now get your ball out and then we do games with the balls, and then get your pen and the pad and that number 2 brochure. So we have interactive stuff with them now. So COVID's kind of opened up the doors for the Kids Club to grow now. So
it's part of your movement for change. You're working on the curriculum,
100%.
which for me is first and foremost important for that part of change with our community, our culture.
Because like at the same time as like wanting government change and policy changes, at the same time as wanting that, we also know we've got to educate our kids ourselves, because this school, I went to school here. I know what the schooling system is, and teach me about Henry VIII and all his wives and things. All now I know about his wives, kind of just jumped in and I just know the thing.
We got Queen Victoria.
Right. So I know what the curriculum is. I went through it. So I have to actively make a decision I have to interject as well, because I know you're not getting the full picture with this British schooling system. So much stuff's left out when all they want to teach the black kids about themselves
slavery.
Is from slavery.
I was about to ask you that.
Black people got invented at slavery, and that was it. Nothing before that. So I'm always teaching them about like ancient Kemet, pyramids, pharaohs. I've always been into that anyway. That's just a little passion of mine. So I've always kind of teach my kids about that side of things. It's also taking it into your own hands, innit? Because you can't leave it to this system to do it, because you know they're not doing it properly. So that's what our Saturday schools with the charity is about. Charity is the Fear Free Trust.
So that's a great start, you know.
Yeah,
and
so
hopefully
it's a start, yeah. And then hopefully what I'm moving towards, my end goal is the Badda Foundation. So that's like, I don't know if you know the Brit School in Croydon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar to that type of style, but like a university campus, bringing them all forms of media, music, bring them from like primary school age and bring them through like a course.
With your own official accreditation.
Accreditations.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
We'll have funds going on throughout the whole time, charities running through to help push them forward in their career. So not only do you get a qualification for this, but if it's music you was into, if you're a rapper, say for instance, if that's the way he was going, we got a fund for your first mixtape, your photo shoot, your da-da-da. We'll get your package together so you are ready to be presented to. Same like media. If it's filming that you're doing, we'll get you to the film schools, to the place where you need to be. We'll get you to the casting. So yeah, it's like a program going from primary right up to like 18, scattered and separated, like what we were saying. So it comes back to education again. So from that same primary school age, their mindset needs to be changed, not only about the racist system, but about your own brothers and sisters as well. Like the love you show to your brothers and sisters, the education needs to be around that as well, because there has been education to separate us. So like Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch was famous for going around the world teaching people how to control. Willie, how do you control 2,000 slaves and there's only 10 of you on that plantation? So Willie went around the world giving talks of how to do this. And it was all about separation. Find the differences between them and pit them against each other. Light, dark, different tribes use different languages, big, strong. So there has been a full education system on how to separate us. Now we are in this separated state. The only way to get back is educate again. So we've been taught to hate one another. So we've been taught to not trust your own fellow black man. We've been taught to, as soon as you get something, make sure you're all right first. These are things that have been taught into society to split us up.
To the point we actually self-hate ourselves.
Self-hate.
Yeah.
We didn't just self-hate. That was taught in. Before they came and got us, there was no self-hate. So this self-hate is a product of the racist system. So it's about, so then that's just education. They taught everyone to think like this, and they do now. So it's just about getting it out. And we do that anyway with our kids anyway.
Yeah.
We teach our kids different stuff from what Jim next door teaches his kids. So we're already trying to get that bad education out with the things that we're teaching them about self-love. It just needs to be on a bigger scale. That's
Because
all.
even that point you made earlier about you having to teach your children something different to Jim's kids, could you share that point?
Yeah, so like, I don't think, so I'm never going to settle. Like, I'm never going to keep quiet as long as I got a next door neighbor called Jim. He's got a son similar age to my son. He's white.
Oh, you actually have?
Yeah, I actually have.
Do you know the whole
Jim's
time
a real
I
person.
thought it was
Jim's a
I
real
thought it was
person.
an example.
Jim's a real person. So,
Okay.
so like, I know what I teach my son and what Jim teaches his son is different. Mm-hmm. Jim sends out his son, he ain't got to worry about police. Police is not a worry for Jim and his son, but it's a worry for me and my son. So as long as us two as parents teach our kids different things to go into the same society because of the racist society, I'll never keep quiet. I'll always be banging on them society's doors to change it because me and Jim are cool. This is the thing as well. Me and Jim are cool. He's my neighbor. It's not fair that he even sympathizes with I don't have to teach my son that. And he can see that, well, that's not right. So his version of what he's going to do because it's not right and what I'm going to do because it's not right is different. I'm banging on doors. Jim is just saying, it's not right. I'm actually banging on doors for change. It needs to change. Now, that change is not easy. We know this. Like, we're talking about changing a racist system that's been in place for hundreds of years. Like, who's going to want to give up that power? Like, it's a case of giving up some of the power. You can't ask the oppressor to stop oppressing. Why would he listen to you? All right, but if we're banging on his doors continuously and I ain't stopping until you listen, and while I'm banging on your door from the outside with my team, I've got the legal team feeding you the bills, trying to change the bills, and then I've got the education board trying to change the curriculum as well, and then my boys in the music are hitting, and when we're all hitting from all different angles, this thing is cracking. And I can see today is completely different to when my mum was young. Like, the effects of it today. I mean, like, who's ever seen so much white man come out to stand with us before? Never. We're in a completely new day here, to where it's ricocheted around the world where predominantly white countries are standing up and saying, no, that thing there's wrong. And as a matter of fact, it's gone on for too long now. It's time for change. So we just got to keep the fight. Because one thing I do know, if we just sit back and say, it's never going to change, guess what? It's never going to change. It's never going to change. In government, in MPs, in decision making. Now, black people have got it's almost like voting has been, like, we see that as something not to do. Like, voting is not for us. Politics isn't for us. We see that it's like a general thing that goes across the black community because we don't trust the government. We don't believe in it. So voting for it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But what we got to realize is when we say politics ain't for us, what we're actually saying is let somebody else make all the decisions. That's all we're saying. As soon as you don't vote, and I haven't voted. I don't vote because the parties that are in, I don't differentiate between you of adhering to their rules you have to do because you're in their place. So I think some people's fight is more like, just because I'm in your place, it doesn't mean you can still be racist here. I thought this was a multicultural society. See, what it is, they shoot themselves in the foot because they talk big talk for the rest of the world, like multicultural, and London's got the most ethnic groups, and they talk all this kind of stuff, BAME, all this foolishness. Yeah. We'll get to that. They talk all this foolishness, but then deep down in the core, it ain't like that. It's still racist. So you've got some people that are saying, no. You can't talk all that talk, but really on the grassroots, it's still racist. Want change now. So there's people banging for that change. And then like NXG, I was telling you, Malcolm X's family and Marcus Garvey's family come together and made this group, the ex-Garvey family. Yeah, they're not dealing with any of this side of it. They're more, we build up our own people, we build up our own things, and we are asking no guy for nothing. Our own funding, our own everything, our own schooling, everything. And I'm totally with that. I'm with that. I'm with that movement, 100%. And I know they don't, it doesn't go down with everyone, but I believe in your fight too. So this is the beauty with me being a solo entity and an artist. Like, I don't join any of these groups. I work with them. So I can go in there, I can flex with you for a bit, I can come away, and I'm not Black Lives Matter. I just was flexing with some Black Lives Matter man them that week there, because they were on the same path as me.
Okay, so you don't identify yourself as a specific group?
None at all.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's too bad.
So when you go to this 1 million person march this weekend, what are you going there?
I'm just as an artist performing.
Okay.
It's just I've been working closely with the founders as well. Okay. So we've been behind the scenes and doing like a lot of the link up stuff that I've been telling you about. Yeah. So I've linked them with other various groups that I've been working with. Like for instance, the same Wolverhampton, I linked them with the 1 million person march, and a couple of the organizers, like one person does paperwork and all that. They've organized loads of marches, so they was really good on that side of things. Another person does social media and they're really good at that, so linking them two was just like perfect, bang. So they work together for a common goal. So like I was saying before, like I noticed part of my role is this linking up, because I'm traveling a lot more and my music is traveling a lot more as well. So I'm finding getting people together has become like, and I love it. I love the fact that when I hear you talk about something like education, and then I've just been with someone yesterday who's starting their own education, like you two have to meet. So the fact that I can bring them together with music, for me, that's half the job done. Yeah, that's half the job done.
Yeah. So while you mentioned BAME as well, like, how do you feel about BAME and the whole terminologies that they use for us to, again, identify us as
BAME is just
people?
BAME is just running away from dealing with black people. That's all that is. You know, black people's got the strongest fight that there is, and all it is, categorize you with the rest of them, and then you can start using stats of the other ones. So like where we say we're unrepresented in government. If you're part of BAME, you're more represented in government, because there's Indian in BAME as well. And I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about black people. So they use BAME to put us in a category, and then that can kind of excuse them from having to deal with the actual black issues what we're talking about. So
I mean, what's your experience being a black man working in business and in the corporate?
Oh, well,
pushing your business to go forward.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So like my catering company, we have a contract down at Ascot. And so every year we do the horse races, blah, blah, blah. We're down there for the week and we cater for all the rich buds in Ascot. Now, to get into there, like the hoops that you have to jump through, the companies that you know have been there already, like just, I'm a solo entity chef who just blagged his way through, brought a couple of his man them, because they were all the right color. He just stepped straight through the door. Where us who was certified, we're registered, we got everything in place, couldn't get in. And so it was only through a friend of mine where I managed to get a contract in there. So yeah, you see it at all levels in the catering industry, all levels. I work at a big football club. Well, I used to work at a big football club. And that club has got some history of racism. Like, you know, like the fans, the supporters kind of thing. So then inside the stadium, the professional world, obviously that doesn't exist, obviously, on the surface. But then deep down, you see like those chefs get the more hours, those chefs get the good job. You still see it on every kind of level. So yeah, it exists for us. It's an everyday thing for us. If I don't see it there, I see it there. I feel
it's so silent and uncomfortable to speak about, but yet so potently there.
Uncomfortable for them to speak about you.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a case like society's moved on. So what you could do yesterday, you can't do today. What you could say yesterday that wasn't offensive is offensive. So because we're moving in that direction, openly being racist, everyone knows it's not acceptable. So they just hide it behind closed doors. And then they have learned how to be around black people and hate black people. I have to work with them.
I was going to ask
They've
you while
learned that.
you're on that as well. So, like that Karen, what's your opinion on?
Oh, yeah, and all the good
I had
ones,
to
all the
ask
good
you.
ones, all the good ones. I even mentioned Karen in one of my freestyles, the blackness freestyle. So it's like 2 freestyles ago. Yeah, 2 before the Paulette Wilson one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I even mentioned Karen, and I was going like, I even said in there like, Karen just reminds me of those, you know, them. See, that's just white privilege, just like right out on your sleeve. Like, she feels so privileged. She feels she's got the right to call feds on a black man that was just filming. So it was her whole stance. It was just that she believed she was in the right to do this. So I loved that Karen video because all it did is just highlighted this thing. You know, like we all know it's there, but there's loads of other, especially white people, because black people know all about Karens. It's the other
Even
white
brought it to
people
their
who
eyes
don't.
as well.
Yes, you lot need to see that there's Karens in your society. The ones that are saying, no, only a couple people are racist. No, you need to know that there's Karens all over the place. So I love that Karen video come up, and even just that any racist white woman is named Karen now. I love it. I love it because it's highlighting, it's drawing attention to it. So that's the first steps of stamping it out, highlighting it. So
the awakening.
Oh,
The awakening. So what is your goal with this album?
Right.
And give us a breakdown of it.
Right. So the awakening is actually a single. So that was the George Floyd freestyle that went viral. We turned it into a single. So we changed the beat and everything and recorded it properly and then shot a video for it at Parliament Square, like right outside the Churchill statue. Like powerful, powerful images in the video. That's on YouTube now, The Awakening, 2 Badda. So like with that was like to highlight, the same type of highlighting what we was talking about. It's more like shine a spotlight on the fact that this is just going like unspoken about. So obviously because of George, everyone wants to talk now. Now they want to take down black movies that had, not black movies, old movies that had racist black characters in them. So like the black face painted ones, and you know, there was a couple comedy sketches where they were, so they started taking down all those kind of things now.
Do you think it's created awareness?
Yeah, anything offensive, anything that's openly offensive to black people, now the spotlight's on it. So it's raised awareness already. There's already awareness. Like I'll give you an example. There's a woman in America, I'm not sure of her name. I read this article. She was going back and forth online with some white people about racism. And they are saying they're not racist. And the things that they were saying, she was saying they are. So they drew up the dictionary's definition of racism. And because they could say, we don't do any of those things, they're like almost protected. So the black woman was saying, well, that definition doesn't include institutionalized racism, systemic racism, police racism that's gone down through no, it doesn't include a varied amount of racism. So the definition ain't right. So you can't stand by this definition like that can save you. She wrote 2 Websters with this argument and got Webster's to change the definition of racism in that dictionary. So this is my example of, change is happening. Might be small, it might be not blared out on the news, but the fact that you have to re-look at this word, maybe add some stuff to it, take some stuff away. The fact that you feel you need to redefine it is because no one ain't having it no more. You can't just get away with that anymore. So for me, those are signs of cracks. Like the statues getting pulled down.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people would just say, you pulled down a statue. That didn't change anything in the racist system. The system's right there, just without the statue on the plinth. What's changed? Nah, consciousness has changed. that statue pulling down is like a symbol. That's like a mark of the people saying, I'm not listening to the government no more. That's what that is. So when I see that, that's symbolism. Forget the actual product. There's like 2,000 more of those to come down. So until they're all gone, that one didn't really make no difference. But it does for the psyche of people, because people are like, if something's wrong and the government are not fixing it, we'll do it ourselves. That sent such a big message now, where statues are coming down all over the place. So for me, that's another crack. The Webster's Dictionary is a crack. The more cracks, the better. Some people are standing back and saying, that little small crack there got to heal up in no time, so that ain't, don't look at it like that. What about when that crack and that crack join up? You know how cracks go. Right, the more cracks, the better. Let's keep cracking.
Let's keep cracking.
Keep cracking.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Definitely. And with the awakening,
yes,
you know.
Yeah, that song there,
just,
is so powerful. And
definitely.
Like, that it's like I was saying, that one is like an awareness type thing and a wake up kind of call. And you know, I've been you wouldn't believe the type of responses that I got for it. So all of the positive responses, but then people are going further and like, you said you'd die for your son in there. I'm ready to die for my son tomorrow. Tell me where the fight is. And then you got other people saying, I got my crew, I got my man them, just tell us where to be. So, you know, like, what that song has done and highlighted for me is, there's loads of people out here wanting to do something. You know, like, they want to focus. They want to focus for this energy and they want to make change, but there's nothing out there, nothing being publicized. A lot of the black groups, organizations, kind of, not secretive, but they kind of keep to themselves because they're fully aware of infiltration and people trying to stop it. Every time a black man tries to do something positive, people try to clamp it down. So a lot of people are kind of like this, cards close to the chest. And because of that, next door don't know what you're doing. And he thinks nothing's going on. So the tune has highlighted that a lot for me. So it's been really an eye-opener to how much people want to do something.
Yeah. Okay, well, too bad you're on fire and you need to keep the fire burning. And we're right with you on this movement, you know.
Do you know what? I shot a freestyle today, you know. So I shot a next vid today and it's coming out tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Okay. So it will be up online tomorrow. That one there, I kind of touch on a little bit of the Wiley, you know, like, because they shut a boy down.
Yeah. Sorry, on the Wiley situation and the freedom of speech.
Yeah. With the Wiley thing, what I do is, like, I don't get into all the anti-Semitic views and No, I look on the bigger picture. Black man spoke, black man was silenced. White gal is speaking for how many years? Katie Hopkins, spitting whatever she wants, allowed to say whatever she wants. A black man talks, silent straight away. So I got a problem with that. Whatever he said, you can't just blute man like that, but other people can speak. If that's the procedure for a man who's speaking out, fine, do that to everyone then. Don't just single out man. So yeah, freedom of speech, innit? It's supposed to be a free country, and that just showed that it's not. You say though certain things and you're not free anymore.
Hypocrisy, definitely.
Exactly. The hypocrisy of the democracy.
Definitely.
That's what
100. What's your opinion on the Black Pounds generational wealth?
So yeah, that's a very good question actually. The Black Pounds is something that, like, same back to education, it's something that we need to teach back into our community, because they're unaware of the importance of this, the importance of circulating your money in your community, how many times it changes hands in your community before it leaves. I think the education around that is very poor, because if more people knew what we know.
And that's obviously because our parents had poor financial education. But today I feel that we're trying to educate ourselves a bit more on that. But go ahead.
That would be a definite big part of the education system, just to, like, our economic leverage. This is the thing, what is your leverage out here economically? So I teach my kids this. This is part of the program for the Saturday schools as well. Economic leverage, financial investing, and mortgages. A lot of Where was the education on
The relevant information that young people need in life.
ownership and business? Like, own your own businesses, own your own product, own your own voice. Like, intellectual property. That's another thing what I've been teaching people as well. Like, copyright your voice. When you speak, you're supposed to get paid. Like, do you know this? If you're out there rapping or speaking, or you're giving your away your intellectual property for free. So things like this is the type of things that I'm putting in my Saturday school classes. So when they come at my class, you're supposed to be able to go in society, and it don't matter what's going on, you can still build up your wealth.
Yeah, too bad. That was an amazing interview. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
sis.
can we get
Thank
a
you for
freestyle
inviting me
with
down.
you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Please stay locked for more Level Up with Candi G, Evolve Nation. Subscribe at the bottom to be inspired and evolve.
Look, we used to line up pyramids with star grids and decorate the walls with hieroglyphs of starships, yeah, and teach the craft to the kids. 5,000 or so years later, Donny, the thing's still standing big. And they would have you think, how did they manage it when they teethed our scrolls and they still got the plans here? They nearly had me brainwashed. But when I started flicking scriptures for myself, like, we ain't even from the same God. They tried to play God. Like, they were cloned two brothers from the same pod to see some profit and then sugarcoat the thing and call it the Genome Project and think Donnies in the hood don't read. They ain't prepared for the gifted ones. How you gonna make maps of the world and not include Area 51s? It's like they had the blindfold pulled over our eyes for so long, but watch out, it's about to get lifted, son. Look, see, when I touch road, black jacket, black crepes, black attitude. I jumped in the black Benz. I got the black combat gloves, knuckles them extended. Black ceramic thing on my wrist. It's a black mess. The black jeans, black tee, black vest. Everybody loves this blackness. But then they stole my black culture, my black music, my black swagger. They put it in Foot Locker and tried to sell it back to us. That's why I blacked out, Jay, on some Black Pound Day. I had to back black businesses the Black Pound way. You see, Karen, she loved bashment in her black man days, but now she's in the park forgetting about her black man phase. To all my black queens, my black empress, my black mothers, you done already know about the loving her. Now I need my black supporters to bring back what Granny taught us and raise the next generation of black daughters. They gave us blacklist, black male, black at death. They whitewash history, use white for a wedding. They never taught my kids about no black inventors and how King Musa was the richest man ever. And I mean ever. If he was alive now, he'd probably own the weather. Like, Badda back down, never, the plan's too clever. Cause me and Sasha's getting 1 million man to stand together. Yeah, Badda.